Hey guys, tonight we're unraveling one of history's most tangled conflicts, the India-Pakistan divide, where a single stroke of a pen in 1947 didn't just draw borders but rivers of blood. Picture this. You're in Lahore, August heat sticking to your skin like guilt, when a rumor flashes through the bazaar. Train from Delhi just arrived, no survivors. The air curdles. You sprint to the station but it's too late. The carriages are charred skeletons, the smell of burnt sugar. Someone was transporting jalabai syrup, mixing with something metallic. And that's when you realize, you probably won't survive this. Not because you're brave or foolish, but because no one planned for the tsunami of violence that partition would unleash. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, drop a comment with your location and local time. Maybe you're listening from Karachi under a ceiling fan, or in Kolkata with monsoon rain tapping your window. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The British exit India like housemates who've trashed the place and left the least breaking news on a post-it. Lord Mountbatten, all crisp naval whites and misplaced optimism, announces, "You've got 72 days to split a civilization." The Radcliffe line, named after a lawyer who'd never set foot in India, carves Punjab and Bengal like a drunk surgeon. Villages wake up to find their wells in one country, their farms in another. A man brushes his teeth in India, spits into Pakistan. Historians still argue whether the bloodshed was inevitable or just criminally bad planning. Pro tip: when your border commission has no maps, it's the latter. Here's a mainstream fact: 15 million people became refugees overnight. Trains like the one you saw in Lahore became rolling coffins. But here's the quirky bit: some evacuees carried doors on their backs, convinced they'd need them in their new homeland. Housing crisis avant la lettre. And then there's the fringe theory that a few British officers stoked the chaos, because nothing screws up a post-colony like leaving its people too busy hating each other to ask why you stole all their tea first. You're dodging mobs, stepping over abandoned chap pals, when a sadhu whispers the real tragedy: they divided the land but not the ghosts. 2. Kashmir's unfinished war ***. A princely state's hesitation becomes a forever conflict, with glaciers, spies, and goat herders caught in the crossfire. The air in Srinagar smells like gunpowder and apricots as you crouch behind a crumbling Mughal-era wall, listening to the crackle of radio static. A voice barks in Urdu, then Hindi, both claiming this valley, this moment, this war. It's October 1947 and Kashmir's Maharaja is sweating over a decision no ruler wants to make. Join India, Pakistan, or declare independence and piss off both. He hesitates like a man staring at two lit fuses, and that's all it takes. Pakistani tribesmen storm in, armed with British rifles and holy fury. India airlifts troops using commercial DC-3s, history's sketchiest airline upgrade. And just like that, the world gets its first line of control, a border so contested even Google Maps throws up its hands and shows dotted lines. You're shivering on the Siachen Glacier now, where soldiers fight at -60°C in a war so high altitude, more men die from avalanches than bullets. The quirky detail? They've got a phone booth-sized shrine to a saint who supposedly guards the glacier, because when artillery fails, divine intervention seems reasonable. Meanwhile, local goat herders roll their eyes and trek past army posts like, this again. Historians still argue whether Kashmir was always destined to explode or if it was botched paperwork. Fun fact: the instrument of accession might have been signed after Indian troops arrived. Whoops. Down in the villages, you see kids playing cricket with a rock wrapped in tape, batting over a chalk-drawn lock. The ball lands in Pakistan, then India, then whack asterisk. Someone declares victory. If only real diplomacy were this simple. 3. Wars no one won. 3 Flashpoint wars unfold like bad poker games, where both sides bluff but keep their nuclear aces hidden. The year is 1965. And you're crouched in a Punjab wheat field as Indian and Pakistani tanks rumble toward each other like drunken wedding guests spoiling for a fight. The air smells of diesel and crushed stalks. War has never been so agricultural. This is the Second Indo-Pak War, where both sides will claim victory, both sides will lose thousands, and the only clear winner is the international arms dealer community. You watch as a Pakistani Patton tank, pride of the US military-industrial complex, gets ambushed by an Indian Centurion. Irony alert: Britain sold tanks to both sides because colonialism might end, but the grift never does. Here's the mainstream fact you'll find in textbooks. The war ended in a UN-brokered ceasefire after 17 days, with barely any territory changing hands. But the quirky tidbit? Pakistan's entire battle strategy was code-named Operation Gibraltar, after the tiny British rock, which makes about as much sense as naming your diet plan Operation Cheesecake. Meanwhile, Indian troops reportedly played Raghupti Raghva Raja Ram on loudspeakers at night to mess with Pakistani soldiers' morale. Psychological warfare, Bollywood edition. Historians still argue whether this war was about Kashmir, pride, or just two nations flexing their post-colonial muscles in the worst possible way. You hitch a ride on a supply truck and overhear soldiers debating cricket scores. Turns out the '65 war paused just long enough for a ceasefire match in Karachi, because nothing says temporary peace like a bunch of sweaty men in whites arguing over LBW rulings. 4. The glow of your phone screen cuts through the dark as you scroll past two viral videos back to back. A Pakistani soldier line dancing in the snow near Siachen, an Indian battalion lip-syncing to Gulabi Ankine at their lock post. The comments section is a minefield of fire emojis and India-Pakistan spammers, 21st century warfare where clout is the real collateral. But beneath this digital theater, in reinforced silos under Punjab's golden fields, the real doomsday math ticks away. India's Agni missiles point west, Pakistan's Shaheen east, and somehow both governments still pretend their nukes are minimum deterrents, while building enough warheads to glass the subcontinent twice over. You're in a Delhi cafe when breaking news blares, another cross-border skirmish. The barista doesn't even look up from steaming milk. These surgical strikes have the routine drama of a daily soap opera. The mainstream fact? Since going nuclear in 1998, India first, Pakistan 3 weeks later like a competitive little brother, neither side has dared a full war. But the quirky horror? Their nuke launch protocols allegedly rely on handwritten codes carried by motorcycle couriers during crises, because nothing says apocalypse ready like a guy in traffic with a thermos and a briefcase. Historians still argue whether mutually assured destruction works when both armies have Twitter fingers. At the Wagah border ceremony that evening, you watch soldiers stomp boots with such exaggerated rage, it's like a Broadway production of Enemies, the musical. Tourist cheer. Someone's selling popcorn. And as the sun dips below the archway, you notice the little girl.